Long after evidence proved 5 young men, all minorities, had been wrongfully convicted for a savage rape in Central Park in the 1980s, Trump refused to believe it, saying the fact that that case was settled with so much evidence against them is outrageous. Still, in characteristic fashion, Trump has continually and emphatically defended himself against charges of prejudice.
I am the least racist person.
Are you bigoted in any way?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Islamophobic?
I'm a person, no, not at all.
When people say that you're racist or homophobic or Islamophobic or whatever it is, that has to bother you, or compare you to Hitler. There are newspaper covers.
You know where things
does
bother
that bother
me?
you?
No, if things are true, if that were true, it would bother me tremendously.
To be sure, the president almost always doubles down on his remarks, and his defenders deny any racist intent. But of course, for critics, those denials are less and less convincing as more examples pile up. Don?
Tom, thank you so much. When we come back, is there a deeper political motive behind the president's statements, or does he actually believe all of this?
DirecTV has been rated #1 in customer satisfaction over cable for 17 years running. But some people still like cable, just like some people like wet grocery bags, getting a bad haircut, overcrowded trains, turnstiles that don't turn, and spilling coffee on themselves. But for everyone else, there's DirecTV. For #1 rated customer satisfaction over cable, switch to DirecTV and for a limited time get a $100 reward card. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Critics are raving about Wonder.
Awesome.
Julia Roberts is superb.
You are a wonder.
And Jacob Tremblay is incredible. It's a heartwarming cinematic jewel. Wonder, rated PG, now playing.
Give a little bit. Give a little bit of your love to me. There's so much that we need to share. So send a smile and show that you care. Give a little bit of my love to you.
Cancer challenges us to find smarter solutions, to offer more precise and less invasive treatment options than before, like advanced genomic testing and immunotherapy. See how we're fighting to outsmart cancer at cancercenter.com/outsmart.
QuickBooks introduces Jeanette and her new mobile wedding business. At first, getting paid was tough. Until she got QuickBooks. Now she sends invoices, sees when they've been viewed, and ta-da! Paid twice as fast for free. Visit QuickBooks.com.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry. I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation thing?
I'm so sorry. This just is not
what we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana.com, the better way to buy a car.
Somewhere in the Caribbean, there are 5-star luxury resorts where every day is unscripted, where the warmth of the islands can fill your soul, where martinis are stirred, dance floors are shaken, and your taste buds can travel the world. Sandals, the world's only luxury-included resorts, where love is all you need because everything else is included. Save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
He likes stuff, she likes stuff, he likes getting stuff.
She likes fun going out, he likes doing stuff.
He likes getting stuff.
She likes doing stuff. Find them both on Groupon.
Download the app and save. Groupon.
We killed the guy. He's dead. We can't take that back.
I feel like I've been having a hard time readjusting to everything. Are you guys medicated?
Of course.
My whole life. Oh.
Search Party, all new Sundays at 10 on TBS. Catch up anytime on the TBS app.
It's never a good feeling when you run out of something you need. So imagine if you ran out of retirement money. That's why you should go to personalcapital.com now for a retirement planner that takes the guesswork out of retirement. Plus a dashboard that shows you all your accounts in one place, even your net worth, all in real time. You'll get all these free tools to help you grow your money faster. Join for free at personalcapital.com. Find out how much you need to retire, and let us help you get there.
Your home network may not be as secure as you think. Even if your Wi-Fi router is password protected, cyber criminals could get into your network through connected devices and steal your personal and financial information. Introducing Norton Core, a secure Wi-Fi router. Core monitors your connected devices and helps quarantine any threats. Norton Core, a secure Wi-Fi router with the speed you want and the security you need. Act now to enjoy $100 off plus free next day shipping with promo code BUYCORE at buynortoncore.com.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
President Trump has repeatedly made racially insensitive remarks about African Americans, Mexicans, Muslims. The latest, a slur against Native Americans. Here's what he said in the middle of an event honoring Navajo veterans yesterday.
You were here long before any of us were here. Although we have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas.
There was silence after that comment because everyone in the room knew he was using a racial slur directed at Senator Elizabeth Warren. Joining me now, sitting political commentators, Bakari Sellers and Ed Martin, and Tara Setmire, the former communications director for Republican Congresswoman Dana Rohrabacher. Good evening, everyone. So here we are. Bakari, I just want to read this. This is from Maggie Haberman, who the president often gives interviews to, Jonathan Martin as well. I had Jonathan on at the beginning of the show. This is from the New York Times. It says, in recent months, they say Mr. Trump has used closed-door conversations to question the authenticity of President Barack Obama's birth certificate. He's also repeatedly claimed that he lost the popular vote last year because of widespread voter fraud, according to advisors and lawmakers. One senator who listened as the president revived his doubts about Mr. Obama's birth certificate chuckled on Tuesdays as he recalled the conversation. The president, he said, has had a hard time letting go of his claim that Mr. Obama was not born in the United States. The senator asked not to be named to discuss private conversations. So his political career began with birtherism, Bakari. This was a conspiracy theory that he peddled. He clearly still harbors this belief. Why can't he just let this go?
Maybe because that's who he is. And I mean, I don't think that this is anything new about his character. I mean, you can go back to Atlantic City, you can go back to the Central Park Five, you can go back to housing discrimination, you can go back to his comments about Muslim Americans, about Mexican Americans, about Judge Curiel. We could talk about the usage of Pocahontas under the portrait of Andrew Jackson at a memorial where we remembered some World War II veterans who fought alongside and who and so you can go through this long litany of things. The problem that we have, though, is twofold. One is that people are becoming desensitized when he makes, as we're calling them today, racially insensitive. Some people would call them racist comments. But two, you have good people who are willing to set aside that and still support him anyway. And so those two groups of individuals, the ones who are desensitized to this.
Dann hatte ich nochmal mit 18 leicht blaue Haare und dann nochmal letztes Jahr mit grüne. Ich weiß nicht, wieso ich mir das immer wieder antue. Yo Leute und willkommen bei einer Special Ask Coke TV Folge. Heute nicht aus dem Studio, sondern mit dem Fußballplatz im Hintergrund. Und ich will gar nicht viel labern, sondern kommen wir direkt zu Frage Nummer 1. Frage Nummer 1. Wann hatte ich meinen ersten Kuss? Definiere Kuss. Ich glaube mal, ich habe mit 5 als Mutprobe im Kindergarten ein Mädchen geküsst. Aber so aus freiem Wille, glaube ich, mit 16. Die zweite Frage ist, auf was könnte ich niemals verzichten? Sushi und YouTube. Aber eher YouTube. Ich liebe YouTube. Ich gucke zu viel YouTube. Mein Leben lang schon. Und ich liebe YouTube. Ja, YouTube. Hashtag Team Bro, Freunde, ihr wisst Bescheid. Die dritte Frage ist, in welcher Traumstadt würdest du leben? Ich würde auf jeden Fall gerne in Los Angeles leben, weil die Stadt mir gefällt. Es sieht immer schön aus. Da sind viele künstlerische, kreative Menschen unterwegs. Der Hintergrund der Videos sieht besser aus. Ich glaube, da bin ich ganz gut dabei. Die nächste Frage ist, kannst du ein Instrument spielen? Und wenn nicht, würdest du gerne ein Instrument spielen können? Ich kann eins spielen, und zwar kann ich Gitarre spielen. Ich habe mir mal vor Jahren über YouTube Gitarre spielen beigebracht. Also, ja, man kann auch Dinge auf YouTube lernen. Deswegen, ich bin ganz zufrieden damit. Aber vielleicht sollte ich mal ein bisschen wieder üben. Bin ein bisschen außer Form gekommen. Die letzte Frage ist, wie viele Haarfarben hattest du schon und wie sahen die aus? Ich muss, glaube ich, sagen, mein erstes Mal Haare färben habe ich mit 14 gehabt. Da hatte ich so eine Justin Bieber Frisur. Und dann hatte ich nochmal mit 18 leicht blaue Haare und dann nochmal letztes Jahr mit grüne. Ich weiß nicht, wieso ich mir das immer wieder antue. Im Nachhinein bereue ich es ständig, aber ja, irgendwie mache ich es einfach. Ich kann es nicht empfehlen. So, Freunde, vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen. Wenn euch das Video gefallen hat, dann zeigt das mit einem Daumen nach oben und lasst dem Coke TV Channel auf jeden Fall ein Abo da. Und schreibt bitte, bitte, bitte ganz viele kreative Kommentare, damit ich beim nächsten Mal diese wieder beantworten kann. Ansonsten kommt ihr natürlich wie immer hier zur letzten Ask Coke TV Folge und hier zur Bucketlist. Wir sehen uns.
And honestly, that's
you realize
the
this is
here.
the same reporter, the same
That's
reporters that the president calls frequently whenever he wants to get his message
No,
out. And he will call Maggie Haberman.
So she's still discredited. Why does the president call her personally?
But even with all of that, you still didn't answer the question. I asked, the question was, why does he continue to do it when he knows it's an insult? But you went on
about Pocahontas.
Yeah.
You mean?
Why does he continue to insult?
Well, look, I don't think
even beyond Pocahontas.
Well, I mean, I think the Pocahontas comment, I don't think it's a racial slur in any way. And let me say why before everybody jumps on me. If you call someone who is a Native American Pocahontas, I think that is a slur. If you mock someone who claims that she was Native American when she wasn't, that's called making fun of someone. That's not a racial slur.
We don't know that she isn't. We don't know that she isn't.
Well, she's already admitted that she was that.
Regardless, that's not the forum. Even if that was funny, it's not the forum. This isn't a Vegas lounge act he's doing. He's the president's trying to say it's inappropriate.
Does anybody realize that Pocahontas is a real person?
Right.
Like, Pocahontas was a real person. Pocahontas is associated with Jamestown in 1613. She was actually kidnapped by white colonialists and renamed
died of
Rebecca
a horrible disease.
and called to be a died of a horrible disease and was called a good
Disney made a
savage.
movie about her.
Disney
made a movie about her.
There is nothing. I'm going to ignore that. There is nothing. There is nothing about that story. There is nothing about that story that you should actually use that. I mean, Ed, let me help you understand this. This is like you calling me JJ, or even more importantly, you calling me Leroy.
It's not.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Listen, I've got to run. I got to say this, because I'm out of time. Disney made a movie about Pocahontas, and the movie was to honor Pocahontas, not to make fun of her.
It's a real story,
right? And it's classless.
So it's not a slur. I agree. It's not a slur.
I do quite a bit of holiday shopping, and I use Ebates for all of it.
I earn cash back just by doing the shopping I was going to do anyway. It gives you cash back on anything and everything that you buy for your family.
Not only do I get all my holiday shopping done in a short amount of time, I get money back for doing so.
I could use that cash back to buy more gifts, or actually a gift for myself.
Sign up for free, shop at your favorite stores, get paid. Join today and get a $10 bonus at ebates.com.
What the hell is this? Top critics agree Three Billboards is a darkly comic masterpiece.
I'd do anything to catch your daughter's killer. I don't think those billboards is very fair.
4 stars.
This time, the chick ain't losing.
3 Billboards. Rated R.
So, wow, you are busy. Wouldn't it be great if you had investments that worked as hard as you do? Yeah.
Introducing Essential Portfolios, the automated investing solution that lets you focus on your life.
Enter the age of mastery. Life has taught you well, and now nothing surprises you, but Consumer Cellular just might. Our average customer pays just $25 a month for all the talk, text, and data they need. AARP members get exclusive discounts. There are no contracts and a risk-free guarantee, so you can cancel at any time. But you won't, because this is one move you won't regret. Call, go online, or visit any Target store. Consumer Cellular, you've earned it.
It's time to get smart about home security. Introducing Floodlight Cam by Ring, a motion-activated security light with an HD camera.
Don't even think about it.
That lets you know when anyone steps on your property. Illuminate every corner of your home with a ring of security. Smart enough to detect people and objects.
Hey, girls.
Hi, Dad.
With Floodlight Cam, you can stop crime before it happens. Protecting your home has never been easier. Now that's security in a whole new light. Available at ring.com.
Take a stand, make a stand for what's right. It's always worth the fight. And I stand up.
On Sunday, December 17th, join us for CNN Heroes on All-Star Tribute, hosted by Anderson Cooper and Kelly Ripa. CNN Heroes on All-Star Tribute, live December 17th at 8 p.m. on CNN.
Suffering from sinus congestion and allergies? Want to avoid drug and nasal spray side effects or uncomfortable neti pots? Get My Pure Mist. Fast, natural, drug-free relief for your sinus symptoms. Steam is a natural decongestant and is so effective that leading medical institutions recommend it. Simply push the on button to get instant steam. And you can use it anywhere, anytime. The Instant Fine Mist penetrates deep, effectively washing away irritants and allergens. The result is superb relief from sinus congestion, colds, and allergies. Research shows 92% of My Pure Mist users could breathe better and sleep better with fewer symptoms. No wonder My Pure Mist has amazing reviews at Amazon, Target, and other major retailers. Why suffer? Get fast, natural relief today. My Pure Mist is available at Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, or Walgreens. Breathe better, sleep better. Get My Pure Mist at Target today.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning brought to you by Cold-EEZE. Shorten your cold with Cold-EEZE.
Cold-EEZE can shorten your cold by 42%.
This was nice.
Might not make your first date 42% better. Shorten your cold with Cold-EEZE, guaranteed.
It's Giving Tuesday, and we want to show you how you can help our 2017 Top 10 CNN Heroes continue their important work. Here's Anderson Cooper to tell you more.
I'm Anderson Cooper. Each of this year's Top 10 CNN Heroes proves that one person really can make a difference. And again, this year, we're making it easy for you to support their great work. Just go to CNNHeroes.com and click Donate beneath any 2017 Top 10 CNN Hero to make a direct contribution to that hero's fundraiser on CrowdRise. You'll receive an email confirming your donation, which is tax deductible in the United States. No matter the amount, you can make a big difference in helping our heroes continue their life-changing work. CNN is proud to offer you this simple way to support each cause and celebrate all these everyday people changing the world. You can donate from your laptop, your tablet, or your phone. Just go to CNNHeroes.com. Your donation in any amount will help them help others. Thanks.
And of course, all of our Top 10 CNN Heroes will be honored at the 11th annual CNN Heroes All-Star Tribute. Is hosted by Anderson with special guest Kelly Ripa, live Sunday, December 17th. Make sure you tune in to be inspired. That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. I'll see you right back here tomorrow.
There's power hidden inside all of us. Once you find it, there's no turning back. So choose your weapon, your champion, your challenge, and game on. Summon your strength.
Rescued me or I rescued her. My oldest granddaughter is now 12 and the younger one is 9. I watched them initially twice a week and I loved that. As they were older and they have their various activities and friends, I don't babysit as much. I miss them already. It's very important for me to have somebody to take care of. It's just my nature. I need to have that. So one night I was looking through all the senior dogs that were available and I saw Ava and I thought, oh my God, this is it. When I had read her bio, said she had a heart murmur. But when Sherry told me that she required heart surgery, I was pretty taken aback. They just really weren't sure that Ava would even make it through the night.
What Subaru did with CNN Heroes really allowed us to change our game. Because we had our own vet, we could see what was going on and save that dog's life.
If I don't feel needed, then I don't feel loved. But Ava needs me. I need her. So therefore, love exists.
Good evening. Two huge developments happening late this afternoon, both with potentially significant consequences. First, on taxes, a victory for the White House. A sweeping Senate bill clears the first big hurdle, thanks in part to deal-making from a president who campaigned on his ability to do just that. At the same time, it was mixed with something else he's become known for, name-calling. We'll have more on that later. At nearly the exact time that was happening in Washington, word came that North Korea tested what appears to have been an intercontinental ballistic missile, which experts say could have the capability of hitting not just Hawaii, but the U.S. mainland, possibly including the East Coast. Already, the rhetoric on that has ramped up to the point where at least one U.S. senator just said, quote, "We're heading for war if things don't change." We begin right now with CNN's Jim Acosta at the White House. So first of all, let's talk about how the president responded to the news of this launch.
Anderson, he was much tougher on Democrats today than he was on Kim Jong-un. There was no talk of fire and fury. There was no talk of Little Rocket Man earlier today. But the president did tell reporters who were gathered here at the White House earlier today that he's on top of the situation in North Korea. Here's what he had to say.
As you probably have heard, and some of you have reported, a missile was launched a little while ago from North Korea. I will only tell you that we will take care of it. We have General Mattis in the room with us, and we've had a long discussion on it. It is a situation that we will handle.
Now, the White House says as of this evening, the president has spoken with the leaders of Japan and South Korea. But Anderson, absent from the president's comments from today, was really any of the brinkmanship that we've seen all year long with respect to Kim Jong-un, which is I think, an interesting development. We'll have to see at the White House, because obviously that has raised a lot of concerns across Washington as to whether the president should be engaging in that kind of brinkmanship, getting into name calling like he does with Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, when this person that he's dealing with has his hands on the nuclear weapons.
It is a real test for the president coming not long after listing North Korea as a state sponsor of terrorism.
That's right. Not only did he decide to change that policy, the Bush administration before Barack Obama took North Korea off that list of state sponsors of terrorism, as we know. But in addition to that, Anderson, keep in mind, he just came off of a nearly two-week foreign trip during which he softened his rhetoric on China with the intent of using China to have some kind of leverage over North Korea. That has been his policy throughout this entire administration.
Die Zukunft der Badkeramik beginnt jetzt. Mit der Verschmelzung keramischer Rohstoffe und Titandioxid zu einem völlig neuen Werkstoff, der all unser Wissen und präzises Handwerk vereint. Für Design ohne Grenzen. Fester, feiner und formvollendet. Titanceram. Die Keramik der Meister. Von Villeroy und Boch.
More than 10 times the altitude, for instance, of the International Space Station. Why is that important? Because that is the arc, that is the flight path consistent with an intercontinental ballistic missile, a missile that can go from North Korea to, for instance, the United States. And it also fits with a pace that we've seen this year of North Korean missile testing that we've never seen before. This is the 23rd missile test that North Korea has conducted since Donald Trump was elected president. We've never seen that before. And with each test, they are learning more, getting closer to being able to threaten the United States.
So, I mean, is it the view of the Pentagon that right now North Korea does have a missile capable of hitting the U.S. mainland?
What North Korea has not yet demonstrated in a test is the capability to bring a payload, in effect a nuclear warhead, back into the atmosphere. They haven't done that yet, but each of these tests brings them closer to doing that. And for months, the view of the U.S. intel community has been this, that we have to assume as a country for national security purposes that North Korea has an untested capability of doing that. And that's, that's about posture, that you have to be prepared for that possibility. And really, that is a game changer, because as you know, Anderson, we've talked about this before, that multiple administrations, Democrat and Republican, Obama, Bush, going back to Clinton, have all said this is a possibility they would never allow to happen. And we are this close to that being the reality. It's just an alarming reality today.
Yeah, Jim Sciutto, appreciate that. More now on how South Korea and the region are reacting. New developments on that front tonight as well. Seen as Will Ripley has just spoken to a North Korean official. He joins us now. What did this North Korean official tell you?
Well, basically, what Jim said, that North Korea hasn't proven they can bring a warhead back into the atmosphere. That's what North Korea still feels they need to prove. This is the same official who told me back in October that North Korea basically had to show the Trump administration two things. One, they had an ICBM, they showed that today, and two, that they can detonate this device, which would be an above-ground nuclear test like the kind that North Korea's foreign minister threatened back in September, possibly over the Pacific Ocean. It could be just posturing, Anderson. Maybe we could see another underground nuclear test, but the sense I've gotten from repeated conversations with North Korean officials is that in order to round off their nuclear program, in their words, they do need to conduct this kind of above ground test that would be so alarming and so provocative for much of the world. But the North Koreans feel completely justified in doing it. They point to China, which did it almost 40 years ago, the United States, Russia, all nuclear powers that had to conduct above ground tests to get their programs to a certain stage. And the North Koreans feel they are almost at that stage, just a couple more steps to go. Of course, the big unknown, how would the United States and the region respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, how has South Korea responded so far?
Well, you have President Moon Jae-in, who is speaking just in the last couple of hours. This is a president who came into power after the impeachment of Park Geun-hye, promising not to take a hawkish approach to North Korea, talking about peace, talking about sitting down and having discussions with Kim Jong-un, now saying that if North Korea continues this kind of behavior, peace would be impossible. And then you had the unification minister, even before this missile launch, saying that their analysts here in South Korea now believe that North Korea is closer than anyone ever expected to finishing their nuclear program. And the U.S. has stated that it could be early next year, perhaps a matter of weeks, before North Korea has this reliable ICBM nuclear capable in their arsenal.
That North Korean official you talked about, I mean, he talked about two conditions, essentially, that North Korea wants to achieve: intercontinental, an ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile, and some sort of above-ground test. Is that, I mean, have they ruled out diplomacy with the U.S., as far as you know, until it can demonstrate its nuclear capabilities?
They're not ruling out diplomacy altogether, but there are a number of things that lead the North Koreans to believe that diplomacy is not an option right now. First of all, the mixed messaging from the Trump administration. You've had Secretary Tillerson all along talking about the possibility of diplomacy, but then you had President Trump beating the war drum in the North Korean view, calling their leader Rocket Man, saying that the U.S. could totally destroy North Korea, all of it bolstering their long-held view that they have to arm themselves against the looming threat of the United States. So I think the North Koreans do want to talk to the United States at some point, but they want to do it after they feel that they have proven and to themselves and to the world that they have this full-fledged nuclear program, so that they will be accepted into the international community as a nuclear power, because they have said repeatedly, even as recently as just a couple of weeks ago when I was in Pyongyang, that getting rid of their nuclear arsenal is simply no longer an option that they would even consider.
I mean, Will, you have been there more than anybody I know, certainly, and for CNN repeatedly. Does any of this surprise you? I mean, given what you've seen, given the militarization that we've all seen in images and what you've seen on the ground, can you explain what their mind frame is on this?
Yeah, this test absolutely not a surprise to me. Yes, it's been more than 2 months since North Korea conducted their last missile launch over northern Japan. Then they had the nuclear test back in September as well. But this long pause, I mean, you think about the kind of things that they're trying to accomplish now. These are big tests, and they need to get them right. And so it could have been technical reasons. It could have been political reasons at home. North Korea's leader has been appearing in his state media talking a lot about, bolstering his nation's economy in the face of sanctions, because they are expecting to really start to feel the impact of those sanctions in North Korea. But they're trying to tell their people that even though they're going to keep launching missiles and developing nuclear weapons, they're also somehow going to try to provide them a better living standard as a result.
Will Ripley, appreciate that tonight. Thank you very much. Coming up next is one senator warns of war against North Korea. We'll play
food as it should be.
At T-Mobile, when you holiday together, great things come in twos, like T-Mobile and Netflix. Right now, when you get an unlimited family plan, Netflix is included. Ho, ho, ho! T-Mobile covers your Netflix subscription.
Best Christmas gift ever!
So you can binge watch all year long.
Now you're thinking Christmas.
And now, when you buy any of this season's hot new Samsung Galaxy phones, you get a second one free to gift. That's one Samsung for you and one to give. T-Mobile, holiday together.
Here's your grace. I'm sorry to bother you, but my car broke down, and I'd really appreciate a ride to the stadium.
Yes! But no, I have to stay here and wait for her baggage.
I thought anybody who rooted for me would have FedEx Delivery Manager. That way you can sign for your packages remotely and even customize your delivery time. Excuse me, sir. Could you take me to the stadium?
Sure, hop in.
Thank you.
Hope you like jazz fusion. Squid up what? Sorry.
Customize your deliveries with FedEx Delivery Manager.
Discover card. Hi, I'm just looking at my account and I've got all this extra cash back.
Yep, that's your cashback match. Only Discover will automatically match all the cash back new card members earn at the end of their first year.
You matched everything I earned this year?
Yeah.
Woo! More money, more money! Ah!
It's all very exciting.
I'm gonna spread the news.
Spread it wide.
It's cashback match, people!
You know that, you all work here.
New card members get a $1-for-$1 match at the end of their first year, only from Discover.
People come to the Caribbean for its translucent waters. We took it over the top. Over the water villas. Over the water chapel. Over the water bar. Over the water restaurants. Over and above anything you could ever imagine. Sandals, the world's only 5-star luxury included resorts. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
He's told that joke a million times, and you always laugh like you're hearing it for the first time. At Lincoln Financial, we get there are some responsibilities of love you gotta do on your own, and some you shouldn't have to shoulder alone, like ensuring he's well taken care of, even as you build your own plans for retirement. See how Lincoln can help protect your savings from the impact of long-term care expenses at lincolnfinancial.com.
Hey, man. Oh, nice man cave.
Nacho?
What? Stop it.
Mm-hmm. We've been saving a lot of money ever since we switched to Progressive.
This bar is legit.
And now we get an even bigger discount for bundling home and auto.
I can get used to this.
It might take a minute.
Swing and a miss. Slam dunk. Touchdown. Sports.
Have you ever seen something so beautiful that all you could say was, wow? Beaches, Turks, and Caicos, where anything is possible because everything is included. Wow. Get up to 65% off. Call 1-800-BEACHES.
Dressing for the job you want is a tradition that never goes out of style. Joseph A. Banks buy one, get one free sale on almost everything in store. All signature sport coats, $149, and all casual wool coats, $149. The buy one, get one free sale, only at Joseph A. Bank.
Critics are raving about Wonder.
Awesome.
Julia Roberts is superb.
You are a wonder.
And Jacob Tremblay is incredible. It's a heartwarming cinematic jewel. Wonder, rated PG, now playing.
Hey, I'm Anderson Cooper.
And I'm Kelly Ripa.
Join us live for CNN Heroes and All-Star Tribute.
Live December 17th at 8 p.m. on CNN.
A short time ago, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham spoke about the possibility of war with North Korea. I want you to hear what he told Wolf Blitz on the Situation Room tonight.
I don't want a war. He doesn't want a war, but we're not going to let this crazy man in North Korea have the capability to hit the homeland. We're not going to live this way. To our friends in China, we're not going to live this way. You need to help us. And if you don't help us, we'll take care of it. And us taking care of it means that the war's in your backyard, not ours.
Well, at stake, of course, potentially hundreds of thousands of lives on the Korean Peninsula and possibly beyond. Joining us now, two CNN military analysts, retired Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling and retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Rick Francona. So, General Hertling, how big a step forward, first of all, is this for North Korea, the fact that they now may be able to hit the east coast of the United States?
It's pretty big. Anderson, you take a look at some of the data that came off this missile launch, and it shows a significant improvement. What we're talking about whenever you launch a missile is three phases. You have the boost phase as it comes off the pad. They've had that down for a while. Then you have the mid-course phase. For it to travel up to 4,700 kilometers, that's higher than the space station is circling. That means it can get in upper atmosphere and come down wherever it wants. And then you have the re-entry phase. So the fact that it traveled as far as it did, as high as it did, is significant. The last missile they shot up hit 3,500 kilometers, and that was a big launch. So from the standpoint of technical capability of this rocket, it was an improvement, and they're showing steady improvement across the board in their missile systems.
Colonel Francona, I mean, the speed with which North Korea's nuclear capabilities seem to be increasing, what is that due to?
Well, this is what's surprising. Not the fact that they're having these tests, is the fact that they are achieving these goals so quickly. You know, as the general said, they've already mastered these three phases of flight. They've already mastered the staging. That's also a very critical part, is having the ability to launch multi-stage rockets. Now they've done that. I think that their stumbling block right now is this re-entry vehicle, the third phase, as the general said. Yeah. When this vehicle re-enters the atmosphere, it has to survive. The North Koreans claimed a few months ago, and they showed us pictures of that miniature nuclear weapon. They need a housing for that survives. That's what they're working on now, and I think that's the next step. But that's not it. They're not done just yet. They won't present this in a few weeks. They're going to have some way to fuse it and some way to guide it. So we still have some time, hopefully, for diplomacy to work.
Well, General Hertling, I mean, the president said today we'll take care of it and that it's a situation that we will handle. That's a quote. Do you know what that means exactly? Because, I mean, when you're obviously there's diplomacy, but military options, we've talked about this before, none of them seem good.
None of them are good, Anderson. And yeah, I heard the president say that. I'm a little bit concerned about that because there is no published strategy. Now, of course, President Trump has said in the past that he's not going to let people know what he's doing, but there doesn't seem to be an indication that there is a strategy for this particular area of the world. There's been a lot of talk about coordinating with China in an attempt to get North Korea to do our bidding, but the truth is we also need to get Russia. Russia supported North Korea for about 20 years in the 80s and the 90s, gave them a whole lot of financial support, and in fact fed the regime. So I think Russia needs to play a part in this too. And frankly, I believe Russia is countering every action of the United States in this part of the world to cause more confusion. But to get to the conflict that you just talked about, if you've studied the Korean conflict of the 50s, you will know that it is a conventional war without equal. It was very tough. You talk about frozen, chosen. In fact, Brooke Baldwin went over there a couple of weeks ago, and I talked to her before she went, and I said, when you get up in a helicopter near the DMZ, take a look at the terrain, because it is some of the most difficult terrain to fight a conventional war in that you can imagine. If that's not the kind of war we're going to fight, if it's something else, and I don't even want to mention what that might be, the artillery, the rockets, and all the things that North Korea has to fire on Seoul, it's been reported many times, can kill hundreds of thousands of people more if you're talking about a nuclear exchange.
And General Hertling, just very briefly, an ICBM heading toward the United States, is that something that can be taken down?
It can. We have missile defense systems. There are systems in Japan. There are systems on the west coast of the United States, in Hawaii and in Guam and in other places. But truthfully, Anderson, we would know of a launch through Stratcom. They measure the telemetrics, and they would be able to tell it. But when you're talking about an ICBM missile launch, it's hard. It's very hard.
All right, General Hurtley, appreciate it. Colonel Francona as well. Coming up, the state of the Republican tax bill. The president visits Capitol Hill today. The bill passes the Senate Budget Committee, so we'll tell you what's next and, of course, what's at stake.
An alert from Wells Fargo, $107 at Doggy Lover's warehouse. No, I would never. Doggy Lovers, please. You know me. I don't even know where that is. Look, I'm replying deny. See? Oh, come on. Hello? Wells Fargo, I did not make that purchase. I didn't do it! I'm so glad you caught that.
I'd do anything to catch your daughter's killer. I don't think those billboards is very fair.
Rolling Stone raves. 3 Billboards is a darkly comic bonfire of a movie.
The police is too busy eating Krispy Kremes to solve actual crime.
What's the matter with you, saying that stuff on TV?
4 stars.
Go, girl.
Frances McDormand is a combustible force of nature.
This time, the chick ain't losing.
In a renegade masterpiece.
Don't!
That will get you good. 3 Billboards, rated R.
DirecTV has been rated #1 in customer satisfaction over cable for 17 years running. But some people still like cable, just like some people like wet grocery bags, getting a bad haircut, overcrowded trains, turnstiles that don't turn, and spilling coffee on themselves. But for everyone else, there's DirecTV. For #1 rated customer satisfaction over cable, switch to DirecTV and for a limited time get a $100 reward card. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
He likes stuff, she likes stuff, he likes getting stuff.
She likes fun going out, he likes doing stuff.
He likes getting stuff,
she likes doing stuff.
Find them both on Groupon.
Download the app and save. Groupon.
When you have a cold, stuff happens. Shut down cold symptoms fast with maximum strength Alka-Seltzer Plus liquid gels.
Tired of sore throat lozenges that only last a short time? Try new Alka-Seltzer Plus sore throat relief. The melts dissolve quickly. Plus, the powerful pain reliever provides long-lasting relief for up to 6 hours. Try new Alka-Seltzer Plus.
What do you think?
This is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana. They might scream banana, banana, banana over and over and over again. They might put banana in all caps. You might even start to believe that this is a banana. But it's not. This is an apple.
The newly updated Spectrum TV app is available on more devices, so you can enjoy your TV in more ways than ever before. You can stream live TV in the living room, on demand in the dining room, search for shows in the study, or set your DVR from any other room you might have, even this room, whatever this room is supposed to be. So download the Spectrum TV app today and experience more TV. Need some furniture.
Long after the media and first responders are gone, Rebuilding Together works with those affected by disaster to rebuild lives, homes, and communities. As the nation's leading home rehabilitation organization, we invest in the long-term recovery of communities affected by natural disasters. Donate today to help us bring everyone back home.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning brought to you by Cold Ease. Shorten your cold with Cold Ease.
Cold Ease can shorten your cold by 42%.
This was nice.
might not make your first date 42% better. Shorten your cold with Cold-Ease, guaranteed.
As we get closer to tonight's CNN tax debate, more now on the Senate tax bill that moved forward today. The questions are, what did it take to get to this point? And most importantly, what's in the bill for people to look forward to or be aware of? CNN's Phil Mattingly joins us from Capitol Hill with what he's learning tonight. So what is the current state of play? I mean, does it look like this tax bill is going to make it through?
Yeah, look, Anderson, they're in a much better place right now than they were this morning. There's no question about it. But I think what's important to note that even though it's gone through the committee process, even though it's about to be on the Senate floor, there's still a lot of hurdles left. Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, likened this whole process to trying to work with a Rubik's Cube. A lot of competing demands here. And just to go through some of them, because they're very important. You have deficit hawks on the Republican side of things. Look, this is a $1.5 trillion proposal, and these individuals don't want it to add to the deficit or add to the debt in the long term. They want a trigger, basically something that would snap back the tax rates into play if the economic growth projections didn't match up to what they were looking for. So that's Senator James Langford, Senator Jeff Flake, Senator Bob Corker. Then you have people like Susan Collins, who, Anderson, a lot of people assumed would be a no on this from the get-go. That's not the case. She's getting closer to yes. Why? She's gotten a commitment, and sources tell me, that they will add the state and local tax deduction for property taxes capped at $10,000. That's something that's in the House. The Senate wants that as well. Then you have to look at the issues that really kind of bogged this down leading into today, the pass-through rate. People like Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Steve Daines, they want the rate cut for business entities like LLCs, S-Corps, partnerships to be expanded even further. Then you have Marco Rubio. He has been a proponent of expanding the child tax credit. The Senate bill does that. It doubles the child tax credit from $1,000 to $2,000, but it's not fully refundable. That's what Senator Marco Rubio wants. Just in closing, and why this all matters, a lot of those things cost a lot of money. That's where senators right now are trying to figure out how to get this across the finish line. That's where Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is trying to figure out if he can actually get this done. They're in a much better place than they were this morning. Still a long way to go.
The CBO has scored this. Can you just explain what kind of an impact this bill would have on Americans if it were to pass in its current form?
Yeah, so the issue right now is if you look across the analyses that we've seen based on the individual side, there's one kind of current theme, and that is lower income Americans, lower to middle income Americans start to get hit, start to actually see tax increases at varying paces. That kind of runs contradictory to what you've heard Republicans say. A lot of this is because of the repeal of Obamacare's individual mandate. So if you look at the numbers, those making under $30,000, they would start to get hit in 2019. Those making under $40,000, 2021. Those making under $75,000, a few years later. Why you're seeing that is because the scoring is that the subsidies would be taken away, and that would lead to a tax increase. Now, Republicans reject that idea altogether. They say take that out. People can still get insurance, still get those subsidies. When that occurs, the numbers look a lot better until the very end of the decade, 2027. Look across the income brackets there, under $75,000. You're seeing a lot of people get a tax increase. Why? Well, the individual side, based on the Senate bill, sunsets because of budget reasons, because it costs a lot of money. This really underscores the priorities here in this bill. The corporate cut from 35% down to 20%, that's made permanent. A lot of the corporate side of things are made permanent. The individual side, that sunsets. And I think what you understand there is Republicans relying heavily on this idea that what they're doing on the corporate side will create a lot of growth. They need to make that permanent for planning purposes. But what that kind of takes away from is the individual side suffers if Congress doesn't figure out a way to extend those tax cuts past 2025, Anderson.
Yeah, Phil Mattingly, stay there. I want to bring in our CNN senior economics analyst, Stephen Moore. I want to mention he's an informal advisor to the White House on tax policy. Also with us is Dylan Ratigan, former broadcaster, chairman of Helical Holdings, and author of Greedy Bastards, How We Can Stop Corporate Communities, Banksters, and Other Vampires from Sucking America Dry. Quite a title there, Dylan. Dylan, just as you see it, does this, I mean, do you buy what the CBO has said about this bill?
I mean, you buy what the CBO says, I would say within, you know, a 25% margin of error, right? So it's going to create some sort of a deficit. Is the CBO right? Probably not. Are they in the right direction? Probably. The thing that really strikes me about this, Anderson, is there's an extremely valid argument for the idea of warehousing capital in the private sector, putting more capital in the hands of whether it's corporations or individuals, for it to be invested in society. That is a very valid argument for the use of tax policy. What's confusing to me about this is that the idea of warehousing more capital in the private sector by altering the tax policy policy is not being matched in a way that rewards actual investment in the development of enterprise in America and the creation of jobs. It's one thing to put more money in the hands of wealthy corporations and individuals. It's another thing to only put that money in the hands of wealthy individuals and corporations contingent on an investment in American enterprise that creates jobs. And I would argue that that's a significant oversight in the overall interpretation of the policy. Again, you don't want the government to have more money. I understand that. You want to have private individuals have more money. I understand that. But to put more money in really wealthy hands without creating a distinct incentive to invest it is nonsensical to me, not to mention the fact that the tax bill itself goes after the biggest economic engines in our country, whether it's the Northeast or California with the SALT and all. I don't want to get lost in the weeds with that, but I feel like there's also an attack on really the economic engine of America for the working.
Let me bring in Stephen. Stephen, I mean, every Republican I've talked to says, look, this is going to create jobs because these companies are going to be hiring more people. How can you guarantee that?
Well, there's never any guarantees. By the way, this was a very big day, Anderson, for the tax bill. I think it's looking more and more, certain. I'd say 80% odds now that Republicans are going to get this done, in part because they realize there's no turning back now. Look, I disagree a little bit with Dylan's analysis. Dylan, I think, one of the big things that's going to cause a big burst of growth and investment spending starting on January 1st of 2018 is the immediate expensing. And Anderson, that allows businesses to invest in building a new plant or equipment or new machinery, and basically you get to write it off the first year. I talked to a lot of businessmen and women, Dylan, who say, look, you put that in, we're going to start spending right away. I think you could see 4 to 4.5% growth in the first half of next year as a result of that. And look, I also disagree with you on one other thing. I do think that this is going to bring a lot of capital, Dylan, back to the United States. I think a lot of the outsourcing that's happened for the last 15 or 20 years of companies leaving the United States, I think a lot of those companies will come back as we make our tax rates more competitive globally.
And I don't even disagree with that. As somebody who's invested millions of dollars with Helical in a business in Louisiana, the advantage of the immediate write-off is something that I personally will affect the way we do our budget for next year. So I don't even disagree with what you said, Stephen. But if the idea is to create more capital in the hands of entrepreneurs and businesses for the explicit purpose of creating more robust American enterprise and more jobs, which is the basic fundamental argument between whether you put more money in the public or the private sector, why not be more explicit and tie that tax benefit explicitly to bringing the money on shore, as you suggest it may happen? But why should we put all of this money into the private sector and then hope, as opposed to really create guardrails to ensure that that's how the capital
Dylan,
flows?
it's a good idea. And look, this bill is not done, Anderson, by any means, as you just heard. I mean, there are a lot of bridges to gap in terms of the House and Senate bill. And one of the complaints, Anderson, that we're hearing from some of the senators is there's not enough a tax cut for those small businesses, the kind that Dylan is talking about. And I think that's something that has to be fixed, that, more reductions because you're right, Dylan, those small businesses, those entrepreneurial companies, that's where the jobs come from.
I want to ask Phil, all these tax cuts, Phil, cost money too. The CBO projected that it's going to add $1.4 trillion to the deficit. How concerned are Republicans about that number? Do they buy? A lot of them simply don't buy that number.
Yeah, I think they're not concerned about the $1.4 trillion number because they're assuming growth projections, right? That's been the entire crux of this. That's why you have the immediate expensing. That's why you want the corporate side to be able to plan long-term, reinvest back into the economy, use what they're getting, the permanence of that, to create jobs, to create growth, to create wage growth. I think the issue right now is, look, we haven't seen what's called a dynamic score, where at least a legitimate dynamic score from kind of the nonpartisan analysis here that really lays out what kind of growth you're going to see. But what we have seen on both the static side and on some of the early iterations of that dynamic score is that there's nowhere near enough growth that's going to create $1.4 trillion. I assume Steve is going to disagree with me on this one, but I think the bottom line here is Republicans have very, very rosy projections on growth in the near term and on growth over the next 10 years. If
I'll just give you one
care about
statistic.
deficits,
I gotta get a break.
That's the big issue.
Well, to be continued. And Dylan, I think I said helical. It's helical holdings. I appreciate that.
Helical.
Yes, helical. Yeah. Thanks very much. Coming up, another woman says veteran Congressman John Conyers sexually harassed her. We'll tell you her story and new word tonight of a possible effort to get Conyers to resign.
How did you do that? MasterPass. MasterPass?
MasterPass.
Nice chair. Thanks. I use MasterPass.
MasterPass?
Yeah, MasterPass.
MasterPass.
Yeah, MasterPass. Pass.
Was it expensive?
Priceless.
I'll MasterPass you a new one.
MasterPass by MasterCard, the modern way to pay.
Top steak and twisted potatoes at Applebee's. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
Having my mom around to help with my daughter means the world to me, so I got her a smartphone.
Amanda, I'm out front, honey.
It's the all-new Jitterbug Smart from Great Call. It's got one of the biggest, brightest screens, and with the built-in 5-star app, I know she can always get help.
One touch and you'll be immediately connected to a highly trained agent who can confirm your location, assess the situation, and get you the help you need.
For the holidays, get 25% off at Best Buy, Rite Aid, and Sears.
It's all pop culture trivia, but it gets pretty intense.
The new guy. Wow,
he looks exactly like me.
No.
Separated at birth much? We should switch name tags and no one would know who is who.
Jamie, you seriously think you look like him?
I'm pretty good with comparisons. Like how Progressive helps people save money by comparing rates, even if they're not the lowest. Whoa! Wow. I mean, the outfit helps, but pretty great. Look at us.
Arrive in style. Stay in style. At the Bahamas' most elegant all-inclusive resort. With its own private offshore island adventure, which is a vacation of its own. Experience 10 world-class restaurants and drink to your heart's content. Sandals Royal Bahamian. Experience 2 vacations in one at the Bahamas' best resort. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
With Advil's fast relief, you'll ask, what pulled muscle? What headache? Nothing works faster to make pain a distant memory. Advil Liquid Gels and Advil Liquid Gels Minis. What pain?
Take a stand, make a stand for what's right. It's always worth the fight. It always nothing. And if you don't stand up for something,
10 everyday heroes doing extraordinary things. Vote now for the CNN Hero of the Year at cnnheroes.com and Facebook Messenger.
happy birthday to you.
I miss you, Grandma. I wish you could be at my birthday party.
This flu season, don't miss out on the important moments in your life. Get your flu shot. Get vaccinated, Ohio.
Buying a certified pre-owned Lexus is smart, but we also sell a lot of different makes at a variety of price points. We will take your vehicle in trade or make you an instant cash offer at Kelley Blue Book market value or higher. Whatever you choose, you're getting unbeatable Lexus of Dayton customer service. Our Lexus of Dayton L Certified Center is located on Lyons Road, right around the corner from our recently renovated new car facility. Lexus of Dayton, satisfying customers for over 25 years.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Another woman has come forward to accuse Congressman John Conyers of sexual harassment. There's already a House Ethics Committee investigation underway after other allegations against him. He's denied wrongdoing. Now, several Democratic sources tell CNN there is an effort underway from several members of the Congressional Black Caucus to get Conyers to resign. Sarah Ganim has the story.
These are the complaints that I made.
Deanna Maher can still remember how she felt that night in 1997 when she says Michigan Congressman John Conyers made unwanted sexual advances toward her.
All of a sudden, John Conyers walked into my bedroom.
Maher was in her 50s at the time, and as Conyers' deputy chief of staff, she traveled to Washington with him for an event. She says she later discovered she was sharing a 2-bedroom hotel suite with him.
I was absolutely shaking. And he took off his clothes. And then I figured out, oh my God, what did I do? How stupid at my age that I walked in and got myself into a situation like that.
Maher says there were 2 more incidents involving Conyers, one in the spring of 1998, when she says Conyers touched her as he drove them both to the airport.
His hand was feeling me all over my, my abdomen.
And in 1999, Maher says she was on stage during a Conyers community town hall.
He walked up to act like he was whispering in my ear something about the town hall meeting, and he stuck his hand up my dress and whispered in my ear, "Wow, you've got great looking legs." And that is in front of everyone.
Maher says the office culture was one of inappropriate behavior and that Conyers wasn't the only person in the office who harassed her. A male staffer also forcibly kissed her, and documents she shared with CNN show she reported it to the FBI and the House Ethics Committee. She retired in 2005.
This is why I want to, and I'm saying before I die, and because I'm going on 80, I want to, before I die, see changes made. I want to see a different Capitol Hill.
Deanna Maher is now the 4th victim whose allegations against Conyers have been made public, Anderson. He's 88 years old, and tonight he's under pressure from Democrats from the Congressional Black Caucus to step down, to resign from his job. He's the longest member of Congress, longest serving member of Congress. He's also one of the founding members of the Congressional Black Caucus. And given all of that, the Democrats are kind of doing this dance, trying to figure out a way for there to be consequences for these allegations while giving him a sort of ease, a way of stepping down without, as they put it, trampling on his legacy, Anderson.
I think she's gave a good testimony about what his legacy may actually be. Also in Washington, a court ruling on who will be the acting director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Jessica Schneider joins us with that. What did the judge decide?
Well, Anderson, Mick Mulvaney, he will stay in as acting director. The federal judge ruled that he will not overturn the president's pick, and he also ruled that Leandra English, who was named to that same position by the outgoing director when he resigned Friday, well, she just didn't show the irreparable harm that was necessary for the judge to grant her a temporary restraining order. Of course, Anderson, it was just Monday morning when both Mulvaney and English, they showed up at the CFPB. They both staked their claim to the acting director title, even sending those dueling emails to staff. But the judge saying tonight, Mick Mulvaney, he has the rightful claim to that acting director position. Anderson?
So does this mean that that battle of the bosses is over?
Well, for now, yes, but Leandra English's attorney, he is promising to continue the fight, holding on to that argument that she is the rightful acting director under the language of the Dodd-Frank Act. That's the law that set up the Consumer Watchdog Agency in the first place. So her attorney, Anderson, saying he'll either file a new motion in federal court or he'll appeal this directly to the D.C. Circuit. But it's interesting to remember this. English, she still is at the Bureau. She has the title of deputy director. President Trump hasn't fired her, so she's still there. Presumably she'll be at work tomorrow. But of course, the official boss after this court's ruling today will be Mick Mulvaney, at least for now. Anderson?
All right, Jessica Schneider, thanks very much. Up next, President Trump calling Senator Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas, and the White House saying she claimed Native American ancestry to help her career. Jeffrey Toobin, who did extensive reporting on her tonight, with the details ahead.
At T-Mobile, when you holiday together, great things come in twos, like T-Mobile and Netflix. Right now, when you get an unlimited family plan, Netflix is included. Ho, ho, ho! T-Mobile covers your Netflix subscription.
Best Christmas gift ever!
So you can binge watch all year long.
Now you're thinking Christmas.
And now, when you buy any of this season's hot new Samsung Galaxy phones, you get a second one free to gift. That's one Samsung for you and one to give. T-Mobile, holiday together.
This is not a cloud. This is a tomato tracked from farm to table on a blockchain, helping keep shoppers safe. This is a financial transaction secure from hacks and threats others can't see. This is a skyscraper whose elevators use IoT data and AI to help thousands get to work safely and efficiently. This is not the cloud you know. This is the IBM cloud. The IBM cloud is the cloud for business. Yours.
You hope nobody knows it's you, but you know it's you. So know this. The activated charcoal and charcoal caps adsorbs gas for fast gas relief without passing the gas. Charcoal caps. Put less boom in the room.
Give a gift that brings the ones you love even closer with a DNA kit from 23andMe. And this holiday, get up to $50 off each kit at 23andme.com.
One day I'm chewing a piece of hard candy and my two front teeth snapped off. My teeth were so messed up. I work in a casino. When I would laugh or engage with the players, I did it like this a lot. It's because I was embarrassed of my teeth. I don't think dentures were ever a solution. The only option for me was Clear Choice.
David was due for a complete reconstruction. Because we have the surgeon and the prosthodontist and the lab in one facility working together as a team, we can perform this procedure in one day.
The Clear Choice one-day approach is making dental implants a reality for people all over the country who suffer from missing or failing teeth.
The whole procedure was done in the same day. Had a beautiful smile.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options.
If I don't get at least 5 or 6 compliments a day at work, it wouldn't be normal. You know, wow, those teeth, they're gorgeous. It's all because of Clear Choice.
Call Clear Choice today.
Jay chooses to run every day, no matter what it brings or where he is. And pain doesn't hold him back. Thanks to Dr. Scholl's running insoles, the only ones proven to relieve and prevent pain from runner's knee, shin splints, and plantar fasciitis. Dr. Scholl's, born to move.
Saturday on an all-new X-Files, Academy Award-winning actor Tom Hanks talks Hollywood, his love of history, and his reaction to President Trump's first year in office. The X-Files with David Axelrod, CNN, Saturday at 7.
You'll notice something about us. Even though we've built a best-in-class network, connecting hundreds of millions of devices nationwide, putting TV on more platforms than ever before, and delivering enough bandwidth to power whatever comes next, we're still not satisfied. We remain 100% committed to improving every single day. Spectrum, redefining what a cable company can be.
Vote now for the CNN Hero of the Year at CNNHeroes.com and Facebook Messenger.
Today, Eric Trump jumped into the fray over the president's use of the nickname Pocahontas during a meeting with Native American war heroes in the Oval Office yesterday. This morning, the president's son tweeted saying, quote, "The irony of an ABC reporter whose parent company Disney has profited nearly $500 million on the movie Pocahontas, inferring that the name is offensive is truly staggering to me." The ABC reporter he's referring to is Jonathan Karl, who asked Sarah Sanders about what the president said yesterday. As a reminder, here is what the president said.
And I just want to thank you because you're very, very special people. You were here long before any of us were here. although we have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas.
Well, just after those remarks, multiple reporters, including ABC's Jonathan Karl, asked Sarah Sanders about what the president said. Here's part of her response to another reporter, Kristen Welker of NBC.
Is it appropriate for the president to use a racial slur in any context?
I don't believe that it is appropriate for him to make a racial slur or anybody else.
This is a racial slur, so why is it appropriate for him to use
I think,
that?
like I said, I don't think that it is, and I don't think that was certainly not the president's intent. I think, again, like I said, I think the more offensive, the most offensive thing. I'm sorry?
Does he see political value in calling people out racially? Why use that?
Look, I think that Senator Warren was very offensive when she lied about something specifically to advance her career. I don't understand why no one's asking about that question and why that isn't constantly covered.
Well, keeping him honest, CNN's chief legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin wrote an in-depth profile on Senator Warren for The New Yorker. We thought we'd ask him to clarify what actually happened regarding this whole claim. So we heard what Sarah Sanders say. Did Elizabeth Warren claim Native American heritage in order to advance her career?
Two false statements in one sentence by Miss Sanders there. You have, first of all, she never used it to advance her career. I mean, I went through the tenure process at Harvard. Charles Fried was the professor in charge of it. They didn't know that she had ever claimed Native American background. It was of no benefit to her. She got tenure completely independent of any sort of Native American background she has. In terms of her Native American background, her family, like a lot of families in Oklahoma, white families, there's a family story that a couple generations back, there were some Native Americans. If you talk to people in Oklahoma, white people, it's very common. It's not like some exotic, crazy claim. Senator Warren has. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My dad's family in Mississippi always thought there was Native American, and then I just did an ancestry test, and there is none.
And you know, many of us have family stories that may turn out to be true, may turn out to be untrue, but there's nothing.
But did she ever write down in a form, "I am part Native American"?
It did appear, yes, in certain law directories, and that's the root of this controversy, that it did appear in these directories, but she said she passed it on because it was a family story. But as far as I could tell, she never got any benefit from it, and she got no affirmative action. She wasn't hired because of it. It was just something that she wrote on a form.
So did she, on the forms, did she describe herself as Native American or as part Native American?
I think the form was not
that
specific. I mean, you know, 1/32nd, you know, a lot of people, you know, measure themselves that way, but the forms, as I understand it, didn't have that sort of level of specificity.
All right. Jeffrey Toobin, appreciate it. Thanks very much. More on the tax bill in a moment as we count down to tonight's CNN debate, the fight over tax reform. First, we want to remind you there are 2 weeks left to vote for the CNN Hero of the Year. You can do that right now at CNNheroes.com. And tonight, on what's known as Giving Tuesday, we want to show you another way you can support one or more of this year's top 10 CNN heroes. Take a look. Just go to CNNheroes.com and click Donate beneath any 2017 Top 10 CNN Hero to make a direct contribution to that hero's fundraiser on CrowdRise. You'll receive an email confirming your donation, which is tax deductible in the United States. No matter the amount, you can make a big difference in helping our heroes continue their life-changing work. CNN is proud to offer you this simple way to support each cause and celebrate all these everyday people changing the world. You can donate from your laptop, your tablet, or your phone. Just go to CNNheroes.com. Your donation in any amount will help them help others. Thanks.
Here's your Grace. I'm sorry to bother you, but my car broke down, and I'd really appreciate a ride to the stadium.
Yes! But no, I have to stay here and wait for a package.
I thought anybody who rooted for me would have a FedEx delivery manager. That way you can sign for your packages remotely and even customize your delivery time. Excuse me, sir. Could you take me to the stadium?
Sure, hop in.
Thank you.
Hope you like jazz fusion. Squid up what? Sorry.
Customize your deliveries with FedEx Delivery Manager.
Coaching means making tough choices.
Jim, you're in.
But when you have high blood pressure and need cold medicine that works fast, the choice is simple. Chlorocidin HBP is the #1 brand that gives powerful cold symptom relief without raising your blood pressure. Chlorocidin HBP.
As you can clearly see, the updates you made to your plan strengthened your retirement score. So that goal you've been saving for, you can do it.
We can do this?
We can do this.
At Fidelity, our online planning tools are clear and straightforward, so you can plan for retirement while saving for the things you want to do today.
Nana, let's do this! Aye, aye, Captain!
Just like magic, Progressive gives you options based on your budget.
You ever feel like cliche foil characters scheming against a top insurer for no reason? Nah. So, why don't we like Flo? She has the name your price tool and we want it. But why? Why don't we actually do any work?
Why do you only own one suit?
It's just the way it is, underdeveloped office character. You're right. Thanks, Bill. No, you're Bill. I'm Tom. You know what? No one cares.
Have you ever seen something so beautiful that all you could say was, wow? Or walked on the world's best beach? At a place that made you feel like you were in a dream, where family comes first and fun is measured one ride at a time.
You're all about a good life.
Where you're served like royalty, but treated like family. Beaches, Turks, and Caicos, where anything is possible because everything is included. Wow! Get up to 65% off. Call 1-800-BEACHES.
More breaking news tonight. The president has just tweeted tying the showdown with North Korea with the showdown over the budget. The tweet reads, quote, after North Korea missile launch, it's more important than ever to go to fund our government and military. Dems shouldn't hold troop funding hostage for amnesty and illegal immigration. Iran on stopping illegal immigration won big. They can't now threaten a shutdown to get their demands. With that on the table, we're now just minutes away from a special CNN town hall debate over tax reform. Senators Bernie Sanders, Marie Cantwell squaring off with Ted Cruz, Senators Cruz and Tim Scott. Now, legislation involving trillions of dollars and affecting nearly every taxpayer in the country now heading for a Senate vote. The consequences could shape the economy for years to come, perhaps shake up Congress as well. I want to talk about it now as we get closer to the debate. Gloria Borger is here, Peter Beinart, and Scott Jennings. So, Gloria, I mean, no doubt about it, the bill getting through the Senate Budget Committee today, clearly a win for the White House and for the president.
Yeah, absolutely a win. I mean, before you can get something to the floor, you got to get it through committee. And they made a lot of promises when the president met with Senate Republicans today. But promises made are not promises kept. So there's still a long way to go before they get to that vote this week. And every senator who has made a promise, senators like Susan Collins or Bob Corker, who's concerned about the deficit, they're going to be watching to see how this bill morphs. I just want to say something about the president's tweet, though. It's kind of a bookend to what his tweet was this morning, which was, you know, I don't see a deal. We may have to shut the government down. And, you know, that's why they decided to not to go to his meeting. But he's really, every day, seems to now be pushing towards blaming the Democrats if, in fact, they can't come to an agreement on immigration and other things that he mentioned in there.
I mean, Scott, as Gloria said, the Budget Committee vote, the first of many hurdles. There's still a ways to go to get some reluctant Republicans over the finish line.
Yeah, but the committee vote today, when you see Johnson and Corker come on board, that makes it a lot more likely that it's going to pass the Senate. Now, they still have to reconcile this version with the House version, but you can feel the momentum right now in the Republican Party. They also confirmed another judge today. And so Senator McConnell and Donald Trump are working together on that. The conference really wants to get a victory. They want to cut people's taxes, and they want to keep a promise. They're still smarting from the loss over Obamacare. This would help reverse that by eliminating the individual mandate while fulfilling another big campaign promise and keeping this momentum going. You can feel it happening, and I'd say better than 50% odds they get this thing passed by Friday.
Peter, I mean, some Senate Republicans were pretty optimistic after lunch with the president today. It's interesting to see his level of involvement with the negotiations, and hard to overstate just how badly, I mean, to Scott's point, how badly the president and congressional Republicans need a legislative win.
Right. They desperately need a legislative win, and that's part of the reason they're pushing this through, even though there have been no hearings, even though they're not waiting for the Congress's own budgetary analysis to try to figure out what the impact on the deficit would be. They don't seem concerned at all that the University of Chicago asked 42 different economists across the ideological spectrum, and only one said that this would increase economic growth. They don't seem concerned that according to the Joint Committee on Taxation, by 2027, taxes on Americans earning under $75,000 under this plan will actually go up, because you're right. They're simply desperate to be able to say they did something and they cut taxes, even though the vast majority of the taxes they cut will be for the very rich who don't need them.
Scott, do you agree with any of that?
Well, look, you know, Anderson, I'm sitting here in Louisville tonight. We know a thing or two about horses out this way, and I can certainly tell you when they're beating a dead one. These are the same stale, tired talking points you get from Democrats every time Republicans want to stimulate the economy and boost growth by taking money out of Washington and giving it back to taxpayers. You get the same stale talking points in this crying wolf. And I think people are tired of it. They want to see this promise fulfilled.
We've seen this twice before. We've seen the way this movie ends. When Ronald Reagan did this in the early 80s, when George W. Bush did this, the budget deficit went way, way up. So this is not tired tales talking points. We know how this plays out. We know that reducing taxes for the very rich is not the best way to stimulate the economy.
You know, Anderson,
they're cutting taxes across the board here.
Actually, the taxes are going to go up for Americans earning under $75,000. That's just wrong.
Go on.
You know, the good news for Republicans, as Scott says, is they may get the tax bill. The bad news for Republicans is that they may get the tax bill. And in the end, if people don't see their taxes go up, if they see tax breaks for corporations and the wealthy become permanent and their tax breaks expire, then it's got Republicans' brand on it, and it's got the president's name on it. They want to get this done. They didn't get health care done. I agree with Scott. I think it's more likely than not that they are going to get this through, but they've made a lot of promises, and they have to keep them.
This back and forth, Peter, between the president, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the tweets, the empty chairs, Pelosi and Schumer skipping the meeting, does it play well for either side here?
It plays well for both sides, right? I mean, because Republicans don't like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, and Democrats don't like Donald Trump. I mean, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, unlike Mitch McConnell, can stand up to Donald Trump because their supporters hate Donald Trump. So it's good for them, but it's also good for Trump because he's picking a fight with Democrats. So I think this is political theater that benefits both sides. I'm not sure it's good for the country, but it works well for both sides.
Scott, the fact is the president needs Democrats to avert a government shutdown.
Yeah, he does. But look, there's going to be a lot of chatter about shutting down the government. I don't think anybody wants to shut down the government. It would be galactically stupid for either side to force a government shutdown here. Look, the economy's humming along. The Finance Committee vote today caused the stock market to go up. We're heading for a tax bill that a lot of Republicans think is going to cause great economic growth. Things are actually bumping along here and heading towards solutions. It would just be really, really dumb politics. And I think, by the way, the Democrats look really small today by not showing up, not just to talk about fiscal issues, but they didn't show up. And then we have a national security crisis while they're not there.
We've got 5 seconds. Gloria, Peter, Scott, thanks very much. And thanks for watching 360. Time to hand it over to Don Lemon. CNN Tonight starts right now.
This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. Breaking news. We are learning tonight that before his inauguration, Donald Trump had already begun raising questions about whether the notorious Access Hollywood tape was a fake.